Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vākprānaschakshusrotramatho Balamindriyāni cha sarvāni Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mamam Brahma Nirakarod Anirakarnamastva Nirakarnam me astu Tadatmani nirate Yaupanishatsu dharmaste mai santu te mai santu. Om Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakrutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Before we proceed to the 8th chapter, which is our subject matter, I thought that we will also review the earlier 2 chapters, 6th chapter and the 7th chapter. As I said, the first 5 chapters are devoted to upasanas or meditation. The 6th chapter is the most famous chapter of the Upanishad. This is where the Mahavakya, the major statement Tattvamasi, is found. So ChandogyaUpanishad is most famous for this Mahavakya Tattvamasi. This is in the form of a dialogue between the son Shvetaketu and the father says Uddalaka. It says Shvetaketu who Asa. There was a boy named Shvetaketu who was already 12 years old, and father said to Shvetaketu, hey, you are already 12 years old, you have not yet gone to school, and so it's already time for your Upanayanam. Therefore go to a suitable guru and get this and study the Vedas. Even though the father himself is a wise person, a very learned person, and still the father chose the son to go to some other guru. I guess that must be the reason. I guess that may be the tradition now, because it's difficult for father, I guess, to train his own child. Anyway, Shvetaketu of age 12 went to the guru, stayed there for 12 years, very bright boy, studied all the Vedas. Dvadavarsha Upetya, he was 12 years old. Upetya meaning that he surrendered to his teacher, took the Upanayanam and studied for 12 years. Sarvan Vedan Adhitya, studied all the Vedas in 12 years. Mahamanaha Anucharamani Stabdha Eya. He came home very learned, of course. At the same time, thinking too highly of himself, thinking that, I am a great speaker. Stabdha, stiff, unbending. He came with this kind of arrogance at home. So father thought this is not right. He knew that his son had the qualifications of studying Brahma Vidya, except that this was the obstacle. This arrogance was the obstacle. And therefore, before you impart the knowledge, it is necessary to remove the obstacle of arrogance. So the father asked him one question. Utatam adehe Shvetaketu, you returned from your teacher, thinking very highly of you, arrogant, proud. Looks like you must have had some very special thing from your teacher that makes you like this. Did you ask your teacher? Utatam adesam apraksha. Hey, did you ask of your teacher? Yena ashrutam shrutam bhavati amatam matam avijñātam vijñātamiti. Hey Shvetaketu, did you ask your father of that tattva, of that truth, by listening to which everything as well becomes listened to, by deliberating upon which everything becomes deliberated upon, by knowing which everything as well becomes known? I'm sure that you must have known that the fact that you come here with this kind of arrogance or air about yourself, like pricking a balloon. Balloon became flat. So that one obstacle that Shvetaketu had, that arrogance was removed in 1 second, He became very obedient. He said, how can it be, sir? How can it be by knowing one thing you know everything? By knowing a part, you do not know the class. How can you know one thing? How can you know the other thing by knowing one thing? How can it be? He somehow could not comprehend this. So then the father said, Yatha Somya ekena mritpinyena saramrunmyam vijñātam syāt. Look, my dear, just as by knowing one particle of clay, everything made of clay becomes as well known. Shvetaketu was similarly also. And not only that, how can it be that by knowing one clay, all the pots and pans and everything becomes known? Vācārambhanam vikāravanābhayam mritvika ityeva satyam. This vikara, the modifications, like the pots and pans, etc., all of this is just in name. A pot has no reality more than the name pot. Because the only reality it has is clay. Take away the clay from what we call pot, and what will remain? This is called pot, all right, but take away the clay from there, what will remain? So what should be really called? The real substance, that this is clay, is it not so? We choose to call it pot for our convenience. What it is clay. So what is pot? Simply a notion in our mind. Vācārambhanam, therefore, what is called pot has no reality other than the word pot. Very profound truth revealed just in one sentence. Then Shvetaketu said, Sir, please teach me. He became right away, he surrendered to his father and became his disciple. Father fortunately accepted him. And that is when the teaching began with this very profound statement, Sadeva Somya idamagrasit ekameva dvitiyam. Hey Somya, oh good looking one, idam, this whole universe made up of the variety and diversity of names and forms, where no two things are identical, no two things are even similar. So this universe of names and forms, with all its diversity and disparity, what was it before its creation? So how do you determine the cause? To determine the material cause, you must look at what it was before it was created. To determine the cause of what we call part, what's the material cause? What was the part before its creation? It was clay. Thus clay is the material cause of the part, because clay existed a moment before the creation of part. Similarly also, what is the material cause? What is it of which this universe is made? The fundamental question in science, isn't it? What is the building block of the universe? Upanishad says, Sadeva Somya idamagrasit ekameva dvitiyam. Hey Somya, oh good looking one, idam, this universe of names and forms, before its creation, what's Sat? Existence. Ekameva dvitiyam, existence which is one without a second, the only reality. Sir, if it was Sat before its creation, is it something else now? If this whole universe of pots and pans was clay before its creation, after creation, is it something else? It's still clay, simply called by different names, that's all it is. So, this universe, so what it is what we want to know. What is the truth of the universe? This is communicated by saying what it was before its creation. That the universe of names and forms of Sat, existence. And where Sat is, you can also assume Chit, you can also assume Ananda. So somewhere there is emphasis on Sat, somewhere emphasis on Chit, somewhere emphasis on Ananda. In fact, in these 3 chapters of the ChandogyaUpanishad, 6th, 7th and 8th, the 6th chapter talks about Brahman as Sat. The 7th chapter talks about Brahman as Ananda, and 8th chapter talks about Brahman as Chit, as that we will see. Now how is it so? It's a statement that this universe was Sat before its creation. Then how did this diverse creation come about? That this creation even now also is Sat. How to communicate that? How to make the student see? Because if Sat alone is reality, if clay alone is reality, and the pot was said to be nothing more than a word, vacharanam, meaning the pot is mithya, so that's the explanation of mithya. Mithya does not mean it does not exist. That it is perceived very much, then still, if you look into what it is, it turns out to be something different from what it appears to be. It appears to be pot, it turns out to be clay. So, pot is nothing but just a state of clay appearing as pot. So also Sat appearing as a whole universe. So how to appreciate Ishvara in the universe? Puja Swami is very fond of saying, what is the Ishvara? Sadeva Somya, this creation was Sat or Ishvara, the universe was Sat, Ishvara before its creation. And now also it is nothing but Ishvara or Sat. So how to see this fact? The Upanishad employs the very famous method of adhyaropa and apavada. Adhyaropa, superimposition. Apavada, negation. First you describe how the clay became pot. And then you explain how this pot is nothing but clay. First you describe elaborately how this pot was made. Describe different stages of how the gold became the chain, gold became a wire and became the ring, then became... So you can describe various stages how gold became ring, chain. And you can take back the chain, there is nothing but the rings and nothing but the wire and nothing but the lump and nothing but gold. So this is the prakriya of the method. That how Sat or Brahman became the universe. So therefore a story is being told. This is a story. The Upanishad says, Tadaikshata. That Sat or Brahman, Aikshata, saw, deliberated. Don't ask too many questions. This is katha, Katha means a story. Which our Padaswami used to call cock and bull stories, but this is a story. Tadaikshata, that Sat or Brahman dwell, deliberated. Bahusyam, may I become many. Tat teja asrajata, having thus deliberated, it creates tejas or the element fire, or it became element fire. Sat means existence. Existence is such doesn't have any form because it is the most common denominator of all names and forms. The pot is, the cloth is, table is. As in the Bhashyakara says, San Ghataha, San Pataha, San Hasti. Anybody remembers that? Where was that? Nasato Vidyate, in the second chapter. San Ghataha, San, this is just for them, to tease them, that's what I mean. San Ghataha, San Pataha, San Hasti. It doesn't say Ghata Hasti, it says San Ghataha, San Pataha, San Hasti. The Sat is pot, Sat is cloth, Sat is elephant. Sat is what is most common denominator. That Sat deliberated, became the element fire. The further deliberated, became element water. Further deliberated, became element earth. It's called Annam. Tejaha, up, and Annam. Fire has the color red. Water has the color white. And the earth has the color black, according to this. Annam has the color black. So three fundamental colors, red, white and black. The combination of that is this whole universe. So this Upanishad has a very interesting prakriya, Swami. It talks about elements and basically it works on colors. Because what we can see with our eyes are the colors. So, even though it says that the universe is made up of three elements, it is really made up of three colors. But what you can see through eyes are the colors. And shows, first of all, how the superimposition took place, meaning that how Sat or Brahman became the three elements and became the whole universe of names and forms. Sayam Devata Aikshata, then Devata, this Brahman, Aikshata, further deliberated. The deliberation is not over. Having become the three elements, deliberation still remains. So further deliberated. Hantahametaha tisro devataha anena jivena. Hey, let me enter these three elements as the self, as a jivatma. As jiva may enter the three elements. As jivatma may enter the element fire, element water, element earth. And then I will further multiply all the names and forms. So in that sense, Brahman said that I have entered the whole universe because the universe is made of these three elements or five elements, all the names and forms. So first, Brahman entered the elements and then manifested as all the diverse names, very diversified. So this is called Adhyaropa or superimposition as to how Brahman or Sat became this whole universe. It's a way of describing. Different Upanishads have different ways of describing how Brahman becomes the universe. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Tasmadva etasmad atmanah akashah sambhutah akashad vayuhu vayoho agnihi agnehe apah advyaf prasivi prasivyam osaya osadibhyah annam annat purusha. From Brahman, which is a self, came the element space and then air and fire and water and earth and the herbs and vegetables and body, etc. So this is how it says how Brahman became everything. The message to be conveyed is what is this Brahman, what is the Ishvara. Then it shows, where is Brahman, where is Sat here? I see fire, I see sun, I see moon, I see all these various things. Where is Brahman? Where is your Sat? So now, Apavada, reducing it back to the fundamental. First, how it became this. Now you want to see Brahman in fire. So look at fire. Fire has three colors. Variously fire appears. Sometimes fire appears red. Or generally. Sometimes it can be white, So white heat. Sometimes it can be white. Sometimes fire also appears black. So fire also appears in these three colors, red, white and black. So the Upanishad says, Yadagnehe rohitam rupam, the red color that you see in the fire is that element fire which was red. Then Yat shuklam, the white color that you see in the fire is of the element water because it is white color. Yat krishnam, that which is the black color in fire belongs to the element earth because it is black. So the teacher says to a disciple, look at this fire. So when you are observing fire, right now you have this concept that this is fire. When you observe the fire a little further, you find that there are three colors. Fire is red, sometimes fire is white, sometimes fire is black. Red is the element fire, white is the element water, black is the element earth. And therefore, fire is no more fire, it is what it is just three elements, three colors. And therefore says, Apagatam agnehe agnitvam. When you see the Agni has three colors, the fireness goes, what remains is three colors. Is it not so? Look at fire. And then, right now in your mind, there is the idea that this entity is fire. Then you observe a little closely. Then you find that what it is the combination of three colors, the red and the white and the black. That means that elements, fire and water and earth. So that entity in your mind now gets transformed from fire to three elements. Is it not so? Right now you see this entity as a part. Then you say, hey, look closely at this, then what it is clay. So when you now train your eyes, then you see in your mind that what formerly was called pot really is nothing but clay. Then I can further invite you to say that, hey, this clay, look at closely, is nothing but earth. Look at closely, is nothing but molecules. Look at closely, nothing but atoms. So it is a matter of training our eyes, or training our mind to see how one thing, the effect reduces to cause, that effect further reduces to cause. So part of the effect reduces to clay, clay is the effect, reduces to earth, earth is the effect, reduces to molecules, molecules are the effect, reduces to, and etc. So when you continue the process of reduction, where will it conclude? Where will it end? You find that every form reduced to a subtler form, to a subtler form, to a subtler form, ultimately we are reduced to what? So that which is formless. Is it not so? Because this pot is a gross form. Clay has some form but subtler than pot. Molecules have form subtler than clay. Atoms have form subtler than molecules. Thus, at every stage, the cause becomes subtler and subtler and subtler, and ultimately we reduce to what? What is formless, nameless, qualityless, attributeless. Is it not so? So, this is how now the teacher invites the student to see this is what our molecule is our prakriya. The prakriya here is, hey, Shvetaketu, look at this. Yadagnehe rohitam rupam, the red color of the fire is nothing but the color of the element fire. Yet shuklam, the white color is nothing but that of the element water. Yet krishnam, the black color of fire is nothing but that of the element earth. Sometimes fire looks white also, sometimes black also. So it says anyway, so I guess we have to see how it does. Apagat agnehe agnitvam. When you see this way, the fire loses its fireness, meaning that in your mind now, the entity is reduced from fire to three colors. You see what he's saying? Formerly, that entity registered in your mind as fire. Now you see, you invite him to see that, hey, this fire is nothing but the three colors. And the color red in fire belongs to element fire, the color white belongs to element water, the color black belongs to element earth, and thus if you see that, you find that the fire is now reduced to only three colors. And then you can further invite, this is the prakriya of the apavada. Then now look at the color red more closely. What do you find? You find that it is nothing but the color white. And look at the color, color black is nothing but color white. Look at white, nothing color red. Look at red is nothing but sat. Swami, how is that? This is how we have to train our mind. How Sat or existence became red, the red became white, white became black. And this universe is nothing but a play of these three colors, is it not so? Swamiji, there is Vayu also, Akash also, there are not three elements, five elements, that may be so. But can you see Vayu? Can you see Akasha? What you can see are only three elements. So, to be very practical, the whole thing is only limited to what you can see. And therefore what you can reduce also. This is how the Tatpada is explained. Tatpada is what? The Tat means Brahman. Here it is Sat, Jagat Karanam. How Brahman is Sat or Jagat Karanam. From Sat or Brahman is shown the evolution of the whole universe, and then by the reverse process. So this is, by the way, the purpose of describing a sequence of creation is so that by reversing that sequence you can go from effect to the cause. The Upanishad describes how the cause became the effect by showing a sequence like I said about the Taittiriya Upanishad from Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, etc. One of the purposes of describing the sequence is so that you can reverse the sequence for going back to the cause. Essentially, what the human being wants to know is what is the cause of the universe. Every scientist asks this question. What is the cause of the universe? What is the building block of the universe? What is the cause of the universe? So far we have come to the God particle, the boson particle. So far it is the most fundamental particle that we have discovered. What do you think? Will they discover something further? They will, isn't it? Scientists being what they are, they have to stop here. They'll continue the investigation. So where do you think their search will lead ultimately? The particle is subtler and subtler and subtler. Where should this search lead ultimately? When will there be a satisfactory answer that now we have discovered the ultimate cause beyond which there is nothing? So far they are discovering causes beyond which there is another cause also. That the five elements were there, then molecule was there, and atom was there, and subatomic particles are there, and now the boson particle is there. Where do you think the scientist should come ultimately? Which which must be ultimate. What is ultimate? Which should not have a cause. Isn't it? So far, whatever we have discovered is in effect, has a cause, has a cause, has a cause. Ultimately, we come to this boson particle or God particle, they call it. Do you think it will have a cause also? If it has a cause, where should it ultimately come? To what point should it come so that it is no further cause? Where do you think it should come? Consciousness. Where is consciousness? Which means that this investigation should lead him to himself, but that will not happen with science. From then on, the Vedanta has to take over that the cause of that boson particle or whatever is the smallest particle is not to be found out there. What appears out there is what? Vishwam darapana dushyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam. As you will study this Dakshinamurti Stotra, Vishwam darapana dushyamana nagari tulyam. The universe is comparable to a city seen in the mirror. Meaning it is not there where it appears. You know what is meant by saying that the city appearing in the mirror. A mirror has no space to accommodate the city, does it have? Does a mirror have the space within itself to accommodate the city? In the mirror you see your face, even does it have a space inside, hollow, to accommodate your face? Vishwam Darapanam Dushyamana Nagare Tulyam Nijantargatam. Where is it? It is within myself, appears out there. This is a Vedantic secret. That what appears out there is who? I alone appear, what is out there. In fact, ultimately, there is no in and out. What is I. This is what Dakshinamurti Vedanta reveals. So as long as you are searching for the cause out there, it will lead to one, to the other, to infinite regression. Because you are searching for it where it is not. If it occurs to somebody that what I am searching for is to be ultimately discovered as myself, then the search will be over. Then he will turn into a Vedantin. So this is how Sat means my very self. And Sat, the story was told how Sat became the whole universe and how the whole universe then is reduced to Sat, meaning to myself. So says here, a simple question is asked. Hey, take this body. Tasya kva moolam syat? What is the moolam? What is the cause? What's the root of this body? This body is nothing but annam. Body is made of annam. What's the root? What's the cause of this body? Annena shungena apaho moolam anvicha. Hey Shvetaketu, may you recognize that the cause, the material cause of what we call body, annam, is nothing but apa, is nothing but water. Adbhi somyashungena tejo moolam anvicha. And then this water, hey Shvetaketu, see that this water is nothing but fire. Now it shows also how fire manifests as liquid and water manifests. Now we know water as rain manifests as as the grains, etc. And how heat manifests as rain, and how rain manifests as food. So the cause and effect relationship is shown there also. So hey Shvetaketu, see this body which is made of food is nothing but water. Having seen that, hey Shvetaketu, recognize that the body which is made of water is nothing but made of fire. Hey Shvetaketu, this body now which you see as fire, see that is nothing but Sat. How? Reducing. So how the Adhyaropa was done from Sat to fire to water to Annam to this body. So body to Annam to water to fire to Sat. So that looks like all algebraic equation, It may be so when we describe in this manner, but this is to be seen, this is not just to be described. What the Upanishad wants is for us to do this and see this fact in our life. That all these, the tangible bodies that I see are made of what? Food. And food ultimately is made of what? Water, rain, manifests as a food. And what is water? It is heat that ultimately manifests as a rain. So what is water? It is nothing but fire. Or what is food? Black color is nothing but the water, white color is nothing but fire, red color. And what is fire? See there. What we need to do is to see what is the unchanging aspect there. Everything is a combination of changing and unchanging, just as this pot is a combination of changing name and form and unchanging clay. Is it not so? then clay again is the combination of changing molecules, combination of changing atoms. Ultimately, what is unchanging? The Sat or existence is what is unchanging. Therefore, Shvetaketu recognizes that this body ultimately is nothing but Sat, and that body is nothing but Sat, and these walls are Sat, and the pillars are Sat, and what is Sat? Sanmulaha swamima sarvaha prajaha sadayatanaha sat pratishtaha iti. Hey Somya, oh good looking one, may you see that all these prajaha, all these beings have the moolam, have the root in Sat. They abide all in Sat. They merge back into Sat. They are nothing but Sat. It's a matter of training our mind. Understand? The reason why Vedanta talks about the Antahakana Shuddhi or the qualification of the mind is so that what is described here is what we can see. So that is the reason why the mind is to be purified or trained so that what is described is what we can see. This would not be described if we could not see them. But we can, if our mind is prepared, that yes, you are right. This body is nothing but food. It's nothing but water, that's right. What is nothing but fire, that is true. In fire also the color and forms are changing. What it is, isness does not change. Everywhere what is constant and unchanging is just isness. Sanmulaha sarvaha prajaha, that all the beings have the root in the Sat, all of them abide in the Sat, all of them must back in the Sat. What is the Sat? Existence, Satchidananda Brahman. So this is how Upanishad invites us to recognize what is in the form of this universe of names and forms is nothing but Sat and Chit and Ananda. And then Upanishad doesn't stop there. An important equation comes then. Sa eshaha anima aitadatmidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tatmamasi Shvetaketu. Hey Shvetaketu, that subtle truth that I showed you as the cause of the universe. So first this body or anything was taken and then shown how it all reduced to Sat. So just as this body reduces Sat, that body also reduces Sat, and this table also reduces Sat, and whatever it is, reduces Sat. Sanmulaha, sadayatanaha, sat pratishtaha, all the names and forms have their cause in Sat, they all sustain in Sat, they all merge back into Sat, and what is Sat? Where is that Sat? Say Esha Anima Aita Atma, he Shvetaketu, Sat is Atma of the entire universe. So Atma, that is the self. That's Satyam, that is the truth. So what is Sat also is Satyam, meaning that the cause of the universe is Satyam or the ultimate reality. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, He Shvetaketu, that is who you are. So that's how the equation is complete. First, the universe, the creation of the universe then shows how the creation is superimposed upon the Sat, and therefore you can see the whole universe is nothing but Sat. That Sat is not out there. He Shvetaketu, Aitat Atmidam Sarvam, all of these as Sat as an Atma. Tat Satyam, that alone is the truth of the universe. Sa Atma, that truth alone is the self. Tattvamasi, Heshviteke Shayataketu, that is who you are. Svetaketu then deliberates and has a question. This much I understood. Bhagavan, Bhuyama Bhagavan Vijñapayatu. But then, oh Bhagavan, oh Venerable Sir, please explain to me again in a different way. Tatha Swami, Father says, I'll do that. So one by one, then Father gives different examples to explain Svetaketu. How, what is Sat, and that's who you are. So variety of questions are asked and questions are answered. How many times it is done? How many times? 9 times. So Tattvamasi, 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 9 times Svetaketu is being told. And then Taddasya Vijajñaviti. At the end, different questions arose in mind of Svetaketu, which we need not get into. But for example, you say that one nice example was given in the Chandogya here about the deep sleep state. So, describing a deep sleep state, in Sanskrit that there is a root called swap. Swap means to sleep. So a person who is sleeping in Sanskrit is a swapiti, Swap means to sleep, and the third person, singular, will be what? Swapiti. Simple. So a person is sleeping. What do we say? Swapiti. Now, one style of Upanishad is common usages are also explored to see how profound the truth is involved in that. So when a person is swapiti, sleeping, when you say swapiti, in saying that there is some profound truth involved. What is involved there? Swapiti, swam apito bhavati. So swapiti, swam apito bhavati, that person comes to himself. Thus the deep sleep is described as swapiti. He's sleeping. In English it doesn't work. In English it will work in a different way. What doesn't work means if an English teacher has to explain, he'll give different example. I'm not saying that it doesn't work in English. All I'm saying is that the way it is done is that the Sanskrit language has been nicely utilized here to convey a message. Similarly also that he is hungry, so that all of this is explored here, describe how all of these also. So Ashanaya, Pipasa, all these words are also, there is a pun on these words to explain how it is hunger and thirst and what happens then. So also Swapiti sleeps. So Swapiti means Swam apito bhavati. Swapiti. Swam apito bhavati. He comes back to himself. He gets his own self. He becomes himself. So deep sleep is a state which the Upanishad explores very often. Upanishad not only talks about the waking state, also talks about the dream state, explains the dream state, explores what it is. And also the Upanishad explores the deep sleep state. Because each state has something important to convey to us. Swami, what does the dream state teach us? In Mandukya Upanishad, Mandukya Karika in particular, the dream state also is analyzed, elsewhere also. That, as we said yesterday, what is the dream world is nothing but myself, because before dreaming I alone was and after dreaming I alone am. Therefore, in dream also what is I. So question is, what is the reality of the dream state? Where does the dream take place? They say that, where are you while you are dreaming? It is said that you are in a very fine nerve somewhere here in this region when you are dreaming. This Jivatma is in a very fine nerve called Hita, which is when he is dreaming. But in dream we see elephants and mountains and that fine little nerve. There's no account, no room for those things. Therefore, where did they come from? So that's how the Karikakara proves that this is all just mithya, appearance, no reality. That dream is mithya. So understand this word mithya, which is a very, intimidating word basically. When it comes mithya and maya, we get really intimidated. But then it is simply explained that look at the dream world. We already told about this yesterday, that we see, there is no room for all those things, mountains and elephants that you see in the dream. And I may see this Ganga and the Rushikesh also in the dream. And while dreaming, I am supposed to be only hearing one fine nerve, and that shows that all of this is nothing but the imagination, projection of the mind. So therefore, the dream is a great example to explain what mithya is, what projection is. And deep sleep also is utilized by Vedantins to explain what your true nature is. The deep sleep state, by analyzing deep sleep state, Vedantin explains how to understand our true nature. Because what is all left in deep sleep is nothing but myself. In the waking state, I am there and the whole world is there. In the dream state, I am there, the dream world is there. In deep sleep state, how many are there? I alone am. At that time, what is my experience? It may be difficult for us to say what is our experience in deep sleep state, but then I think most of us will also perhaps verify this, that if we had a good sleep, then we always feel refreshed. It may not be happening very often, but then if it does happen, that we had real good sleep, we feel refreshed. So I feel refreshed after a good sleep. That means sleep was a very refreshing experience. So a very pleasant experience. Something I look forward to. Something that I do not want to get out of. When the alarm rings, I just shut it off because I don't want to give up that state. I prepare very elaborately for my sleep, make sure that my bed is right and my bed sheet is right and fan is at the right speed. Everything as though I am preparing for a very pleasant experience. And then when the alarm rings, the most unpleasant thing in my life is the alarm, I just shut it off. Meaning that I do not want to give up that experience. That shows that it is a very inviting, pleasant experience. Meaning that in deep sleep state, we are experiencing happiness. And there is no object which can give me happiness at that time. All there is myself. Therefore, deep sleep is an evidence of the fact that Atma or myself is of the nature of happiness. Also, that happiness is without any reason, without any object, without any cause. It is nirnimittam sukham. It is just spontaneous happiness. That means it must be my nature. Happiness is my nature. Freedom is my nature. Moksha is my nature. So he says, Swapiti, Swam apito bhavati. In the deep sleep state, this Jivatma comes back to himself. Meaning that he becomes himself. He merges into, Brihadaranyaka says, he merges into Brahman. And so the deep sleep state is also analyzed here, and dream state also is analyzed here. The waking also is analyzed. We go from waking to the dream to deep sleep and then waking and dream. We're searching for something. The fact this Jiva Atma is going from the waking state and then is not quite satisfied, so creates a dream for himself, not quite satisfied, then again goes to deep sleep state. So says here, just as a bird which is tied to a post, searches for places of rest and doesn't find anywhere. It goes here and there and there. It's tired with the cord, with post, comes back to the post. Similarly also, this Jivatma is going to the waking state, dream state, not finding any place, comes back to himself, where? In the deep sleep state. So, deep sleep is the experience that we have of our own self like that. So this is how the true nature of Jiva also is explained as happiness. Nature of universe also is explained as Brahman. And then it said that, hey, Brahman, which is the cause of universe, is yourself. And by the demonstration of deep sleep shows how you are happiness, you are Brahman. And that's how the identity of Brahman, this Jagat Karanam, and Jiva, the self, is explained here, Tattvamasi. So this is basically the 6th chapter of the ChandogyaUpanishad, which I thought we just should review for yourself, so that many of you already heard, but this is a review. Then we'll take briefly look at the 7th and then go to the 8th chapter. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakrutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Lakshinamurti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru